Still, let's move on to our location report on the making of Event Horizon. This, too, is set in the future, though only some 50 years hence. Paul Anderson, who made Mortal Kombat and Shopping, directs a story of an attempt to rescue a missing spaceship, the Event Horizon itself, somewhere in the galaxy. Lawrence Fishburne and Kathleen Quinlan star, and Katie Derham had herself beamed up to Pinewood Studios to see what was going on.
Take one young British director, some top American stars, a crew of 400 British technicians, and a set to make a Trekkie weep tears of joy, and you've got Event Horizon, the latest Hollywood sci-fi blockbuster to be shot in Britain. So, what's it all about?
Action!
The Exorcist set on a spaceship. I mean, that's basically the concept, is to make a movie like The Shining or The Exorcist or Poltergeist, but set on a spaceship.
And of course it's set only 50 years ahead, so it's not as if it's completely unrealistic.
It's about 60 years in the future, 50, 60 years in the future. So the idea that space exploration is still very, very difficult. It's not Star Trek-y, you know, it's not easy to go out into outer space. It's very difficult, dirty work, it's very dangerous. And the people who do it are pretty top flight.
So how are you kind of trying to get that whole mood across then with what you're doing here?
We try and keep it as realistic as possible. I mean, I think one of the real strengths of the screenplay is that the characters are very, very three-dimensional. They're very rounded. This is not a cartoon comic book movie. They're believable people in a very tense, believable situation.
Who am I? Miller. Yes, I play Captain Steve Miller. Some people call me the Space Cowboy.
Now, exactly what have you been shooting today, then? Tell us a bit about that.
Today, we were shooting a bit that takes place in the main access corridor of the Event Horizon, which is the big spaceship that's disappeared 7 years prior to the beginning of the movie. It's myself, Kathleen Quinlan, Jack Noseworthy, leaving our ship, Lewis and Clark, going on to the Event Horizon. And it's kind of where the fun really begins in the movie.
Do you have to wear the spacesuits? Tell me a bit about them.
Well, they weigh 65 pounds, which is about half of what I weigh. Not quite, but almost. And they're designed by John Mollo, who did Star Wars and Gandhi, and they're incredible. I mean, they really are spectacular. And they have air built into them, so when we have the helmets on, we can breathe. It's quite hot in there.
The EVA suits, extra vehicular activity for those of you not in the know. They're lots of fun. They're really cool looking. They've been built by the elves and fairies here at Pinewood with special materials.
Magic.
Special materials. The components of which I cannot divulge because, after all, you know, industry secrets, that kind of thing. They're very, very, very lightweight. Very easy to move around in.
Why is it I think you're having me on here? I don't know. There are challenges, though, aren't there, for you? I mean, acting alongside special effects.
It's difficult. For example, there's a thing we were shooting today where we come into this main access corridor and I'm meant to see a bunch of ice crystals floating in the air, and within this cloud of ice crystals there's a tooth from someone's mouth. It's just sort of floating in the air. They've given me a small kind of replica to deal with, so we do shots like that. Then we also have to do shots where I'm pretending to put this tooth in a bag and there's nothing in front of me. It's really bizarre.
The ship that's going to blow up in the film blows up in a series of sections of predetermined bombs. In any event, the large central structure has 5 columns around it. We're going to have cameras inside, and we had to blow up those sections, and since it's so large, the set was built for the size of the stage. We couldn't get any smaller than 1/72, which required an incredibly high frame rate, slowing the explosion down as much as possible. So we had corn flakes inside that were painted black, and a bunch of pieces of tin and things to establish the scale. So it was going to be a multiplane effect. So actually what was seen was one of the elements of many to come in an explosion that covers an area of a mile.
If I didn't know how this movie was made, I don't think I could see it. I'm a big chicken in that department. I can't see those scary things.
Oh my God.
Event Horizon should open in the autumn.